Hey guys, I'm a hot mess tonight. You guys have to forgive me. We'll give it a minute and see how many friends we have. While we're waiting, feel free to say where you are and what you're doing, what's going on in your world this evening. Hi! I'm just going to apologize in advance because number one, I already said this, like a hot mess. Number two, Sophie is in the room next to me and she is eating soup and her spoon is really loud. And she also is watching iPad with headphones on, so she's probably going to like sing along to a theme song or say something really loud at some point and not even realize it. And Ellie should be here any minute from dance, so she's probably going to storm in the back door. So yeah, it's going to get loud, I'm sure. Awesome. Well, I'm so glad you guys are here. I decided to start out with my face because I posted on Instagram this morning and asked if there were anything that you guys wanted to see or what you wanted to know. And I have a nice long list of things to show you. And so I didn't want to put the phone in the tripod yet because a couple of the questions were about, hello, Lower Alabama, roll tide. Yeah, I know Shauna was on earlier. I saw her jump on and I was like, man, nobody's going to come and see me now. So it worked out good. She finished up right before I came on. Anyway, so I had a couple questions about how I store journaling supplies and how I set a tripod up for Periscope. So I thought I would show you those things first before I set the phone down. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour. So I'm going to spin you around. Hold your horses. Okay, awesome. So, hold on. All right, so we're in the dining room, and I have this nice big bookcase here, which has all of our craft supplies in baskets, and these were actually science lab shelves from an elementary school, which we rescued, and so this is right behind my dining room table, which you can see here. So this is sort of art central for us. The question about how I store my journaling supplies, I think I've answered a couple times, but I wanted you guys to see again. I have a Lazy Susan from IKEA. I don't know. Yeah, you're not going to be able to see it. It's just like an unfinished wood Lazy Susan on the table and then a big round tray on top of it. And I have all of my supplies in just bins and buckets on the Lazy Susan. So we have crayons for the kids and washi tape. There are erasers and tassels and crystals and all sorts of like fun little embellishments here. I have a little basket full of, vintage Pyrex love. So I have all sorts of little like Project Life cards and just little, bits and baubles that I've collected. What is this for? What for? So then I have paintbrushes and markers and pencils, baker's twine, stamps. So pretty much all of my supplies live on the Lazy Susan. I'm sorry. I hope that didn't sound rude. I didn't quite follow that question. So things that are not on the Lazy Susan are in a couple of different bags. I have an illustrated faith bag that I keep all of the stamps and stickers in. And this just lets me be a little bit mobile. I sometimes throw this in my bag for work. And so it has some easy things that I can use on a lunch break or just for some quick journaling. And then I also have a couple of pen cases. Sorry, so I also have a couple of pen cases with just like my favorite pens and pencils in. And also this usually stays in my purse at all times. So that's most of the supplies that I use. Except for, yes, great lunch idea. I often spend lunch break at Bible journaling. So or at least maybe sketching things out or reading a devotion to kind of get me started. Okay, so another question I got was about the Periscope setup. And I'll just go ahead and admit that I'm not sold yet on this Periscope setup. Favorite Sam. Don't let me forget. I'll come back to that. Not yet sold on this Periscope setup, but it's working so far. This is just an inexpensive tripod. I'm sorry if I'm making y'all sick. An inexpensive tripod by Targus that I actually got at Target. It was like $12. And then this is the top of a selfie stick that I just screwed into the phone mount at the top. So I just put my phone on it like so, which I'm not actually going to do yet. And then just put my Bible underneath it. So it's a pretty quick and easy way. Yeah, super, super easy. I love Shauna's clip-on tripod, but I don't have a shelf up on my desk or above my table. So for now, this works best. So another question I had, and I'm just going to kind of work through the questions that I had on Instagram, and then we'll see what time it is. If you guys want to hang out for a process video, then we'll do that next. One of the questions I had was, how many Bibles do I have? And I have quite a few, but journaling Bibles, I have 2. So this is my original journaling Bible, which is all sorts of full. This is the one that you see on Instagram more often than not. Thanks, Jessa Lee, maybe. I hope I'm saying that right. And then the second Bible is here. It's the exact same one. It is a leather-bound ESV 1 column by Crossway. Sorry, ladies. We have a squealer in the background. So I've actually just started working in this Bible. You can see it only has a few entries. Where did I get them and how much? Okay, so the first Bible, they're exactly the same, but the first one I bought on Amazon, and I think it was $44.99. And the second one I got at Lifeway, and it was originally that same price, but I had a coupon for 30% off, and so that's why I went ahead and got a second one while I had a coupon. So there's that. Another question I had was tools that I recommend for beginners. And honestly, I would say, just if you're on a limited budget and you just want to get a few things in the beginning, definitely mechanical pencils and white erasers. These Westcott ones are my favorite. They come in a 2-pack at Michael's for like $3.99. Definitely get some good pens. I always recommend the Illustrated Faith pen. I know that they are not in stock, but oh, that's not it. All right. Sorry, I'm trying to look through the phone instead of just looking, which would be a whole lot easier. Illustrated Faith pens will be back in the shop next week. I heard Shauna say today, so I totally recommend those. If not, then I like these pigment liners by Staedtler. I have a multi-pack, which are $15.99 for 5, sometimes 6. There is a pack that has like a bonus pen in it. So sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 6, for like $16. So definitely pens that work well with mixed media, mechanical pencils, white erasers, and then probably colored pencils. And I like Crayola Twistables, which are, way over here in this bag. And I can't unzip with one hand. Anyway, trust me, Crayola Twistables are in here, and I definitely would recommend those. And then just maybe scout the Target dollar aisle for supplies. I get a ton of this washi tape came from the dollar aisle, and you can always find fun note cards. These were from the dollar aisle at Target. They were just little note cards that I cut in half and then used to punch out tabs. So you can find all sorts of inexpensive things. Covers for the Bibles. This cover here came from the Pokey Rose on Etsy, the Pokey Rose. I know that she isn't open all of the time. She only opens once a month, I think, and there's a waiting list. But her stuff is phenomenal. It has sort of a leatherette binder, and it has 3 little bookmarks. This bag here and this Bible cover is by Nee G Ware, and I'll spin this around so you can see. She is also on Etsy. This set was a little bit less expensive than the Pokey Rose, but they're comparable in the way they're made, and how happy I am with them. I like them both. This one I bought because I wanted it to be sort of neutral and match all of the Bible pages, and then I decided I wanted something fun and bright, so I bought that one. I kind of can't make up my mind about things sometimes. So couple other questions people had was, I had somebody ask about white space. When I'm painting, how do I keep white space? And so I should have marked the page, but so here is one example. They were actually talking about the negative space in the lettering, and for these pages, all I do is sketch out the lettering in pencil and paint around it. And then go back over it with pen. In this case, I actually used a white pen to fill in the letters. But if I have larger openings, then often I just leave it blank. Of course, at the moment, I'm not able to find one. This is what happens. Oh, here you go. So I'll just leave it blank and sort of paint around it. So that's kind of an easy question to answer. The other question that I had was about tabs how I make tabs and what I use to create them with. So I'm going to put the phone in my tripod now because I'm going to do a little bit of a process video. So hold on while we get adjusted just a little bit here. And I'll try to get my Bible where you can see it. All right. You guys okay? Can you see that well enough? Awesome. Okay, so a couple different things I do for tabs that I wanted to show. And for those of you who tune in every single time, it's in landscape. Okay, hold on. Did that fix it? Is it now in portrait? Because it is not in landscape for me. It's in portrait for me. Yes, I will post this to YouTube also. Okay, perfect. So I think I've shown this to you guys a couple of times. This is the best tab punch ever. It's by We Are Memory Keepers, and I got it at Hobby Lobby. And you can just punch tabs out of it, which is what the majority of my tabs are made out of. For instance, here. And I usually use things like Project Life cards or just little bits and pieces of cardstock, you know, that I collect. And so I'll just punch out tabs from these papers. Another way that you can use the same tab punch for tabs is with scrapbook paper that's not quite as heavy. So I'm going to tear out a piece so I can show you. Sorry. I was too busy watching. Do I tab every page that I do? Can I repeat where the Bible? Okay, the green Bible cover is from Neejeewear. Neejeewear. She's on Instagram and she has an Etsy shop. And shoot, I don't remember what that other question said, so ask it again. Sorry. Okay, so tab punch. The other thing you can do is use lightweight paper, patterned paper like this, and I still think this is going to be a little bit tall. I'm going to fold this in half, and I'm going to trim it so that the height is only a little higher. Oh, do I tab every page? Yeah. I don't necessarily tab every page. It probably does seem like it. I tab most of them. So you can take a piece of scrapbook paper or just, you know, lightweight printed paper and fold it in half. And then we're going to slide it in our tab punch. Maybe. We're going to slide it in our tab punch. And we want the fold to be just below the top of the die. Because if we put it above the die, it's going to cut the fold off. And so we're just going to put it just under where it cuts, and we're going to punch it. And so now your tab is two-sided, and so you can just sort of pinch that over the top of the page, and you can either use a glue stick or a tape runner or, you know, whatever adhesive you want to, but now you got a tab on both sides. So used to, this is the way I made tabs, and I would either washi tape or glue them in on one side and then you know, add something to the other side to embellish it. Now this is what I do more often than not. A couple other things that I do with tabs is just cut paper and add it to the top. You know, that has a sticker on it. Some of the tabs are from the Illustrated Faith Etsy shop, and some of them are just embellishments. So this is just a plastic heart that I taped in at the top, and so when the page is closed, it makes a little bit of a tab there. And this was just a piece of paper that had a word bubble on it, and I just cut the word bubble out and sort of let it overlap off the top of the page. And so, you know, that makes a tab there. And then sometimes I will do baker's twine. So this one is just, I punched 2 holes. I know, don't go broke. Just collect over time. I promise you that I had a lot of these supplies just in general because I'm a creative, artsy person and just collect all of the supplies. But I certainly didn't buy all this at one time, I promise. And the dollar aisle at Target is no joke. And there's a, you know, the dollar aisle at Michael's too. You can find all sorts of fun things there. So just, you know, pick up a few things here and there. Don't buy it all at one time. This is just a piece of baker's twine that I punched 2 holes in the top of my Bible. I put a piece of washi tape on both sides and then punched the holes so that I didn't have to worry about it tearing the Bible. And I just tied baker's twine through it. And so this kind of sticks up out of the top and acts like a tab. Some other things you can do for tabs are, this was a, just like a gift tag. and it's just stapled to the top of the Bible, and I put stickers on it, and it sticks up on the other side too. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be a tab for you to use it as a tab. I use all sorts of things. And then even still, I know I've showed you guys this page 100 times, but sometimes I like to just add embellishments to the page, and it just sticks off the top, and so it kind of makes its own tab. Yeah, I kind of can't wait for my second Bible to look like this. I hate carrying my second Bible places because I feel like it's so plain and empty, and I'm so used to carrying this one around. So I try to do a couple pages a week in the new one just to kind of fill it up. And it didn't take very long, probably 6 months or so. I've been doing this since February, late February, early March. So it hasn't taken a crazy long time to fill up. I think that's most of the questions that I got on Instagram. So if there's anything else specific that you guys want to see, please tell me. And in the meantime, I'm going to kind of show you the page that I'm working on right now. I don't know if any of you follow Ashley Ann Photography. She has a wonderful blog that I love. How do I deal with the bleed through on the other pages? This ring is from Roxbox. And I love it. Thank you. I actually don't have any issues. Yes, I can show you watercolors. I don't have any issues with bleeding. I don't know why I don't have issues with bleeding, but I don't. So this is acrylic, and there's absolutely nothing on the background. Even this black page here is acrylic, and it doesn't show through at all. This is watercolors. This is acrylic and watercolors. So I know that some people really have trouble bleeding. I do not gesso. I am lazy, and when not lazy is not the right word, but when I'm ready to sit down and be artistic, I want to do it right then. I do not want to have to gesso and wait for that to dry. And I know a lot of people have had problems where they have to sand it, or the gesso eats up their pens, and so I just avoid all that. If for some reason something bleeds through, then I just make it work on the other side of the page. So I don't really deal with a bleed through issue. So the page that I'm working on today, I was saying that I didn't know if you guys follow Ashley Ann Photography, but she had a beautiful blog post today called On Being a Hummingbird. And the verse that she referenced was Proverbs chapter 11. Sometimes cover bleed through the cardstock. Yes, you can cover up bleed through with cardstock, absolutely. Tassels, these tassels, let's see, I think there's only one in my Bible right now, and I don't even see it. Oh wait, it's in the other one. This is the tassel that everybody's talking about, I think. And I just put it on a gift tag from Target, and I actually just made this with Baker's Twine, and so we'll see where we are on time, and maybe I'll show you how I did that at the end. It is not, is it my goal to journal every page? I don't know how to answer that. I think it's probably lofty for me to say that I'm going to journal every single page. Would I love it? Yes. 1 Samuel is journaled pretty heavily. I've got, 7 or 8 pages in a row, front and back. And I'll tell you, it's my absolute favorite book to look through. I love that it's completely, or almost completely, I'm still working on it. But I love that. And I would love nothing more than the entire thing to be filled, but I don't know if that's a realistic goal for me. So, I don't know. We'll see. Sorry, I lost my spot. Hold on. We were in Proverbs 11. Okay, so I'll answer any other questions you have at the end. Let me just show you a little bit about what I'm working on right now. So anyway, Ashley Ann shared a blog post today called On Being a Hummingbird, and the reference is Proverbs 11, verse 27, and it says, "Whoever diligently seeks good seeks favor, but evil comes to him who searches for it." And she was talking about how her pastor preached this past Sunday on hummingbirds and buzzards, and that buzzards spend all day looking for and finding dead things, and that hummingbirds spend all day looking for things that are sweet. And what you find is often depends on what it is that you're seeking, what it is that you are looking for. And so she wrote this thing on a chalkboard, and it said, "I want to be a hummingbird in a world of buzzards." And so, yes, that's really funny. Thank you, Josh. That's my husband being silly about Nicolas Cage and totally throwing me off. Anyway, so I wanted to journal this page. Y'all, I'm so flustered now. Go away. It's Proverbs chapter 11, verse 27. Whoever diligently seeks good seeks favor, but evil comes to him who searches for it. So I spent a few minutes before you guys joined me, and I sketched out a hummingbird and just wrote out the words, I want to be a hummingbird. And so I'm just going to go over that in pen, and then I think I'm just going to use watercolors to watercolor the page. If you guys want to hang out and watch. And you are welcome to ask questions, but if you'll just give me a few seconds, because I can't see really good while I'm sitting down writing, but I'll stand back up to color it in. And lettering is always something that I get questions about, and so I did a really simple lettering today, nothing very involved at all. I wanted you to see that even really simple handwriting can be beautiful. So I'm just going to go over it once with pen. I'll probably go ahead and go over the bird too. I always feel so bad at this point in the video when I'm sitting down and I can't see you and I'm not interacting with you. So feel free to talk to each other. Or you can still ask questions. I'll go back and look at the replay. I just can't answer them right now. I don't normally draw things that are realistic necessarily. It's not really my style, so it's quite possible that this hummingbird is not going to be cute at all. But we're going to do our best here. To at least make it not look like a cartoon character. Y'all, Sophie is chowing down on some soup in the background. If you can't hear it, I can't even believe it because she's so loud. Okay, so that's good enough, I think. And so now that I've got one layer of ink, I'm just going to erase it with the white eraser. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. And I'm gonna try to stand up while I go over this. So if you guys have any questions or want to chat, you know, about Bible journaling or life in general, I'm open for that. So I'm just gonna kind of go back over the letters. And I'm not really going to do a bubble letter necessarily. I'm just going to I kind of want them to be a little bit messy. I feel like that's sort of a theme in my lettering. I was planning on using watercolors to color this page. Is there anything else you guys would like to see? Is there something you'd rather me use other than watercolors? I missed that. I'm sorry. Of course I looked up right as it was vanishing off the screen. I do not have any Inktense blocks. I have seen other people use that and it does look super fun. Colored pencil technique. Okay, I don't think I'm going to use colored pencils for this particular page, but I will certainly add that to the list of things to look at. the colored pencil technique, sparkling H2Os. No, I don't even know what that means. Colored pencil technique takes a little bit longer than painting. It takes a lot longer, just the blending process. It may just be the way that I work, but that probably needs a Periscope all of its own instead of tacking it on the end of another. Okay, so I think that's what we're gonna work with. I think I'm gonna add some color to the little guy and maybe just some color to the page in general. I am using these watercolors that everybody loves from Michael's, $4.99, friends. If you don't have those, you should totally pick those up. Super inexpensive, and they are absolutely my favorites. And I am at least going to start with a water pen to color the hummingbird itself, and then I'll probably just use a regular brush for the rest of the page. So I have no idea what color a hummingbird is, so we're just going to go with it. So don't judge if it's like, you know, completely unrealistic. But these little water brushes are great. They have just a little bit of water. I will definitely YouTube it. These water pens are from Amazon in a 3-pack. They're by Pentel, I think. But I know that you can get them at Hobby Lobby, and I'm sure you can get them at Michael's as well. So I'm just going to give this guy a little bit of a green face. And kind of, I like using them too because you can keep using them even after the color kind of goes away, and it sort of gives a gradient look. The pens have water in them. There's like a little reservoir. You unscrew it and fill it up with water. So you don't have to dip your paintbrush in water. You don't have to add water to your watercolors. You really just sort of swirl it around in the paint and add it to the page. It's going to be more pigmented at the beginning because it has you know, more paint on the brush, and then the longer you use it, you run out of paint, and it sort of acts as a gradient. They are certainly my favorite for adding color to lettering and for adding color to small objects, but I don't necessarily use them to do like a big wash of color, you know, all over the page. So I'm just going to add some blue, and I will sort of blend that in a little bit, but I didn't want it to be super dark. Missed the beginning. The verse is Proverbs 11:27, and I read a blog post today about how vultures are always looking for dead things, looking for and finding things that are dead and dying, and hummingbirds are always looking for things that are sweet, and about how you pretty much are going to find what it is you're looking for. And so the girl who wrote the article was just saying that she wanted to be a hummingbird in a world of vultures, and I loved that. So I thought it would be fun to journal for you guys. And the verse is really pretty about just seeking good. So you can see these blend really well. You can blend the two colors pretty well. Yeah. I'm going to add a little bit darker green. Here at the top. And you guys, I am not a watercolor expert by any stretch. I have never used watercolors in my life until Bible journaling. I mean, I'm sure I used them as a kid, but not as an artist. That was not ever my medium of choice. So I'm just sort of learning how all of these things work together. Sophie, would you like to say hello?
Hello.
This is my youngest daughter, Sophie. She's hanging out with me tonight. She's had headphones on and been eating, but she's joined the table. All right. Everyone's saying hi.
But Ella's at dance.
Yeah, Ella's at dance. She dances late on...
Ella's saying hi in the air.
She dances late on Thursdays. So I'm going to add us some red. Down here. Y'all, does she not have the cutest, sweetest little voice?
No.
Yes. So I'm just going to do a little bit of pink. She's Taz. Can you tell everybody? Okay, so what does Mommy call you?
Tazzy.
Tazzy. And can you tell them why?
Because I am one.
Because you are one? You are one what?
Taz.
A Taz? Like who? Like what? What does that mean?
I can't remember.
My husband started calling her Taz when she was about 6 months old because she is one, you know, like the Tasmanian devil. She is loud and moves and never really stops moving or making noise. She's kind of a whirling dervish. And so he started calling her that pretty early on, and it stuck. And so she's Taz. And my oldest daughter's name is Ella, and we just call her Belly because it rhymes. And it's just what we started calling her when she was little, and it stuck too. So there's our sweet little hummingbird. I probably could use, hold on, I gotta grab a paper towel. I'm gonna blot the room.
It's pretty.
Thanks.
Beautiful, Mommy.
Thank you, babe. Back up just a little bit.
Oh, we blot in art class.
You do blot in art class? Well, we're gonna blot a little bit right here just because the red is a little bit wet. So, I'm kind of happy with him. He's pretty, you know, fun and colorful. I may want to add some color to the words, but I'm not quite sure yet. I love her too. She is so sweet. I'm gonna grab.
Do one dot in this blue and do one dot in the eye.
In the eye? You think it needs a blue eye? I think maybe we can work that out. Let's see. We'll get a little bit of dark blue. Is that better?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
You missed a spot, but that's okay. I don't think the characters will notice.
Okay, thanks. All right, let's be quiet for just a second. Okay, so we're going to add some background, and I'm going to put in a page protector. I like the Illustrated Faith one, and so it's handy. So I'm just going to stick it here, and I'm just going to do a color wash on the background. And I really like the blues and the greens, so I think I'm going to stick in that color palette. And I always start light and work my way dark. So I'm just going to use this really light blue to begin with. And I like to add a lot of water and just stir it and stir it and stir it and stir it until there's like a nice big pot of paint. And I'm just going to lay it right on the page. I don't know. I'm sorry. I say an awful lot, and I don't realize it until I'm on video. If you guys follow me, I know you probably follow me on Instagram, which is how you found me on Periscope, but I have a blog, and if you don't follow me there, I shared a watercolor tutorial earlier in the week. I think it was on Monday or Tuesday. The blog address is Taz, T-A-Z, and belly.com, and you can go back to Tuesday's post, and I shared a pretty in-depth watercolor video. It's like 37 minutes. And so if you're not familiar with how to use watercolors, or you're anxious about using them in your Bible, it's a pretty in-depth video. We'll give you lots of tips. Awesome. I'm glad you guys checked it out. I'm sorry it was so long. My husband always laughs, and he's like, who wants to sit around and watch you for 40 minutes? And I was like, well, I don't know, but maybe. Oh, I'm glad you love the butterflies. The butterflies is one of my favorites too. That's actually in my new Bible, and so I'll show you guys that one in a few minutes. I'll give you a close-up. Okay, good. I'm glad you guys don't think it's too long, because he does. He's probably not even watching this anymore. He tunes in just to make a little snarky comment. So we just have a nice little blue color wash. It's kind of over the whole page. I know it's hard for you to tell right now what it really looks like because it's wet, and so it just kind of looks dirty. But once it dries, it'll look a lot different. Is the watercolor grainy when it dries? How do you get rid of the chalky color? Yeah, okay, so it is a little chalky or grainy when it dries. And so that's one of the reasons why I like to do the words first and go ahead and write them out in pen. And even if I go back and touch them up a little bit after, it looks a lot darker having a layer underneath the paint than it would if I just tried to add it later. Something that you can try doing is once it's dry, and I mean really dry, like the next day dry, is to take a soft paper towel and just kind of buff it a little bit, or you could even use like a really, really soft cloth, and it'll kind of take off some of that chalkiness. Or you could also use a white eraser. Page seems to shrink a little when I use watercolors. Yeah, it does. It does draw up just a little bit. but I can't, I don't know. It doesn't, things like that don't bother me.
Use some green.
I will use some green. Does it run off? Yes, I try not to use as much in the gutter so that it won't run down, you know, into the seam of the Bible, but it does run a little bit, so you kind of do have to be careful about that.
Get a tiny one and finish the little.
Hey, Miss Jennifer's on here. Can you say hey to Miss Jennifer? I mean, you can't see her. She's trying to see the camera, but can you just say hello?
Hey, Miss Jennifer.
Tell her, tell BK we said hey.
Huh?
Tell her, tell Braylon we said hello.
Tell Braylon that we said hello.
So I'm just going to kind of build up color and layers. Can you erase pencil lines after painting? No, not really. I would suggest that you go over your pencil lines with your pen and then erase the pencil marks and then to paint over it. It doesn't really erase that great afterwards. So maybe we'll do a little green. Thank you. She does have a pretty sweet accent.
Mama, get a little brush and paint all the little spots.
Oh, okay. So Sophie does not like that the paint doesn't go all the way. What was the name of the blog with the devotional? AshleyAnnPhotography.com. When I use watercolors, it bleeds to the back page. Does yours? No. I've had so many people say that, and mine does not bleed. I don't know why. I don't know what the difference is. I don't know if it's a difference in page. Braylon says, is that Tazzy? She's listening. Can you say, hey, Braylon?
Hey, Braylon.
I don't have a problem with it bleeding, so I don't know if that's an issue about the thickness of the pages or what. So I don't know. I'm not much help on that front. I've had several people ask me that, and I don't know why it bleeds on some pages and doesn't on others. And you're using the same watercolor set, this one from Hobby Lobby? I mean, one from Michael's? So tell me what watercolors you're using and what Bible you're using, and let's see if it's the same. How long does it take to dry? If I let it air dry, it'll probably take like 10 minutes. Usually I just use a blow dryer and just kind of go back and, you know, it takes like 20 seconds to blow dry. The black ESV Bible, and yours does bleed or does not bleed, Cordy? Okay, I will say that I have heard that the Crayola watercolors bleed really, really bad. So I would suggest trying this little set from Michael's. I mean, y'all, it's $3.99 or $4.99, and you can use a 40% off coupon. So it's super, super inexpensive. Not cost prohibitive at all. I would definitely try it because I've literally not ever had any problems with bleeding. So I don't really love, I don't love that our little guy is blue and now we have the sky all up on him, but since that's what Sophie wanted us to do. Yeah, and don't use a lot of water. I know I said I added a lot of water, but I stir and stir and stir and stir until it's really pigmented. So there's a lot of pigment per water, if that makes any sense. I'm going to go back and give our little hummingbird a different color wing, maybe. Yeah, I'm going to add some purple, but I'm going to add some purple on our hummingbird. Yes, great minds. I wasn't sure if you meant on the little guy or on the page, but I need to blot our blue a little bit around our tail here. So I know it's kind of hard for you to tell right now.
Everything's itchy.
I know it's hard for you to tell right now kind of how the page looks because it's still wet.
It looks pretty all around.
All right, thank you. Nobody needs to see your hand.
Okay. Hey everybody, come to our house. We're selling it.
All right, you need to go.
In a few days.
Okay, thank you. You need to go find something else to do.
Okay, let's watch my show.
All right, sorry, we've eliminated our distraction. What name do you use for YouTube?
Still here.
Okay, so that's enough. On YouTube, I think if you search Kristen Fields, you'll probably find it. I have tried to change my username there so that it matches my username everywhere else. But YouTube is weird about changing your name, and you have to have so many followers to be able to do it. And I don't have a ton of YouTube followers, so I probably don't have a hope and a prayer of ever changing it. So Kristen with an I-N Fields, and you should be able to find it. Or you may also try searching K Fields 1923. I think that was probably my username in the beginning. Yeah, she could totally be a Disney character. Okay, so honestly, if you guys can hang tight for like 30 seconds, I'm going to blow dry the page so that you can see what it really looks like and so you can see that it doesn't bleed on the back. I have a blow dryer right here, so just hang tight for 2 seconds. Okay, sorry. Thank y'all for hanging out. Looks like we didn't lose anybody. So you can see that it lightened up a whole lot once it was dry. And the color is very, yeah, I know, I'm a bumpkin, I'm sorry. The color is pretty varied. You can tell a lot more in person than you can on the screen. But it turned out pretty nice. I like it. I probably will journal a bit. I probably will go back over the letters. Yeah, it's super fast. I mean, really, you can take 30 seconds and blow dry it. And, oh, no, I tore one of my tassels. The verse is Proverbs 11, verse 27. It says, whoever diligently seeks good seeks favor, but evil comes to him who searches for it. Can you write over the paint? Okay, not right now. I would give it a little bit longer to dry a little bit, even though it feels dry to the touch. A lot of time there's still a lot of water in the page, and it will kind of suck the ink out of your pen. Dries it out a lot, and so I would recommend letting it dry a little bit longer. And then once it's dry, just take a soft paper towel and just kind of, you know, rub the page, kind of buff off the little bit of the. You'll see a lot of paint comes off. You can't tell on the page that paint comes off, but it kind of takes that chalky feel off your page, and it'll make it much easier to write on. Your pen will work a lot better on it. So I'll probably journal a little bit and add you know, some more embellishments. I'm probably going to do some sort of a tab. Maybe the tab that we made. That kind of does match, okay? Do I do... No, I don't necessarily do every sermon. It depends on if the page is journaled already or, you know, I mean, yes, every sermon ideally should speak to you, but I typically do 2 or 3 sermons a month depending on, you know, what the lessons are and if I have a page available. I do remember that I did not answer this question earlier. Somebody asked when I got the second Bible and why I started journaling in a second Bible. I actually just got it at the end of July, I think. And I've only done, you know, probably less than 10 pages total in the new Bible. And really, I just bought it for overflow, but also because both of my daughters want the Bible. And so I want them to be able to have one. And, sorry, I'm looking through it and trying to talk at the same time. Yeah, you're right. It totally should be a rainbow hummingbird. Yeah, so both of my girls fight over who the Bible belongs to, so I decided to work in 2, and that way each of them could have one. I don't know if I'll give it to them as a graduation gift or a wedding gift or just, you know, when I outgrow these Bibles and move on to another one. But anyway, that's why I'm working in 2 different Bibles. I know somebody asked about the butterfly page, and so I wanted to show it to you. This is in the second Bible, and this is 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17. Therefore, if anyone in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. And I just drew out the butterflies with a pen and filled them in with watercolors and then painted around them with black ink or black paint, and then went back over it with a white Uniball Signo, I think is what I used. So it actually is a really fun page. It's one of my favorites probably. And these are the little word fetty that from Illustrated Faith, and you can see I just used watercolors and colored those as well so that they kind of coordinated with the page. The white would have been fine, but I thought the color was fun, and it's the same color that I used to highlight the verse. So I won't keep you guys any longer. I'm sure you have things to do with your own families, but I'm glad you joined me for a little while, and I answered lots of questions, and you got to sit in for at least part of this process page. I'm going to hang out and finish it, and I'll probably will wait and share this page in the morning. Thank you guys for hanging out. No, I'm sorry. I saw your question I meant to answer. I do not journal anywhere else except my Bible. I will say that I do this. I have a bullet journal. This is kind of like blog posts and my calendar and that kind of thing. And so a lot of times I'll do sort of mini journaling here. I'd like to do an art journal, but honestly, this takes up so much time. I don't know that I can keep up with having to do that in multiple places. So we'll hang out in the Bible for now, and if I change my mind, I'll let you know. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. If you have any other questions or things you want me to Periscope about in the future, I would love it if you would go back to the Instagram photo and just leave a comment and let me know what you're interested in seeing. I try to keep a running list. I do not go to churches and do classes for women's ministries, although that is something that I would love to do. I will say that I am helping with a junior high journaling group this semester. I've actually only been once, but it was so much fun. It's a group of 6th grade girls. And then I have been asked to do a class for a local Bible journaling group for adults, which I'm going to do sometime next month. And so I'll probably will have some fun things to show to you after that. But I would honestly love to do that. I think that would be super fun. All right, guys, have a lovely Thursday evening. Thursday TV comes back on tonight, so go watch something really good on television.